Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 23. Now, I want you to cast your minds back to the beginning of MotoGP 23, and when I first got my hands on this game, I did a video called Finding the Limits in Buddh. Now, this has been, almost a year on, and I want to see what lap times we can produce compared to the original video. Now, I have been on this track numerous times in online races. I don't think I've done a live GP here, but I know I've done career mode and racing with the Aces as well. But in that video, we had a lot of 1 minute 43s, a lot of invalidated laps, and I think some of the best laps at the end of the video were around a low 143. I think if I recall, it's something like a 143 flat or something close enough to. I might have even finished with a 142. So I have since done this track, and I have since put better lap times in. As you can see on screen, we have a 141.3. But I want to see how consistent we can be compared to when we first got our hands on this fantastic motorcycle game. So, first lap looks pretty good already. In the first split, looks like we're already going to be finding time against the lap time of a 141.304, which must mean we're about 1.2, almost 2 seconds quicker than what we were all those months ago. And I think this is about, just be careful there onto the power. So easy to run it off the circuit there, ever so slightly, you get caught onto the white line there, and then it could be it for your lap time. I'm really trying not to invalidate the lap times here today with Joan Mir on board the Repsol Honda. Now, of course, I'm still using the Honda because it was the exact same bike that we used in that video. It was titled Finding the Limits in Buddh, I think it was, and I really had a good time with that video, so I wanted to come back to do some time trial and take something more casual rather than screaming and shouting for a race here today. So, in our first lap, of course, significantly quicker than the lap times we were doing when I first got my hands on this game, so we are 0.3 of a second slower than the lap time I must have set here a long time ago. I actually don't remember the last time I came here and the last time I competed in the time trial setting here in Buddh. Now, of course, I have done career mode recently where I actually crashed in the race. It was going into the big shell oils, as I've heard people call it. And I think with the Honda, it's a different beast. Been using the factory Ducati, a very easy bike to use, probably the best bike in the game by far. Where I do like the Repsol Honda, but of course it does wheelie and it does bounce around a lot upon the brakes. So we've got to really fathom it out and really understand how to use the Honda before we can possibly increase our lap times. Now, we're already really close to 141 flat. We're only 0.3 of a second away. So all we need to do is find 3.5 tenths of a second, and we're going to find ourselves in the 1 minute 40 bracket. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here today. I'm going to aim for the stars and go for those 1 minute 40 lap times. So into turn 13, it looks to be a very similar lap time yet again. Now, I do understand that turn 14 is going to be the corner that's going to cash me out. It's so easy to get it wrong there. Also, going into the final corner here, it's easy to go a little bit too wide or maybe too tight on the anchors. This time it looks to have been pretty good, and I'll tell you what, this is going to be close already, and just our second attempt. In fact, no, I was misunderstood. The personal best is for this particular time trial session instead of compared to the record that I already had. So we have found 0.3, and we're now just 30,000th of a second away from beating or tying our lap time from whenever I set this previously. Now, I'm not going to change the tyres in this one. I'm going to try and do this all in one consistent run. So we are keeping hard front and medium tyre. I do think that is the best combination. Probably if I use the soft rear, I'd find a little bit more grip, but I'm not particularly concerned too much about the lap times. I want to see regarding the consistency and then to compare the lap times towards the end, because in that video I made so many handling errors that led to track limit infractions, and obviously exceeding track limits is an instant invalidation here in the MotoGP game. So unfortunately for me back then, getting used to things, learning the way, it was a bit difficult, but now it looks to be that we have nailed it with this game. Of course, MotoGP 24 is right round the corner, which I cannot wait to get my hands on. It's coming. I'll have my hands on it soon, and then I'll be able to make content just for you fantastic people watching from home or wherever you may be. And of course, guys, if you are enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe whenever you get the chance. So into turn 15 then. Tremendously tight to the apex there on the left-hand side. Trying not to get caught on the curve there, because it will lose momentum. And across the line, it's another 141.3. This time a little bit slower, but you're talking marginal losses there. On the track, you wouldn't even be able to see the difference. It'd be so close together as we go into this very awkward right-hander for turn 3. Going to use the ride height device here. I'm not really feeling the balance with the Honda. I think compared to the Ducati, how it's really easy to manage the throttle and it's easy to manage the wheelies, the Repsol Honda wants to just bounce and tuck and weave. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll use the ride height device for those stronger acceleration points. Whenever you're coming down from the really low revs to the highest revs, you want to make sure that ride height device is used. Now, of course, I don't use it often. I only use it occasionally for a select few tracks. But I do understand that for MotoGP 24, the ride height device is probably going to get some more usage, so we'll see in the future. But now, we are 33,000 of a second up compared to the lap time earlier, which was a 141.334. So how close is that lap time going to be? Provided we don't make any mistakes, this should be very close to the lap time which is set currently as the record. It's so easy to cut the apex there as well, going onto that right-hander for turn 13. I've done it many times, no doubt I will do it in this video here today. As we, I just thought we were going to run off the circuit there, but that was okay. Very close to the limits. As we get onto the power once again, I could start using the ride height device for that final corner as well. I might consider doing that, but across the line, again, very close lap time once again. But we are going backwards. Now it's 2 lap times in a row we've actually gone slower, but by a very thin margin. If anything, I'm just happy with the consistency so far. That's a great apex. Might run it a bit onto the curb, but alright. Actually lost time there. I felt like we did a really good apex. I thought going for the tighter line there, using the ride height device and accelerating gradually, would pay off, but it didn't quite work out that time around as we get harder upon the brakes for the dreaded turn 4. An innocuous corner that. It doesn't look that bad, but when you get into it, it's very difficult to actually find the right moment. So we've lost time here. My streak of solid lap times could be coming to a close here. I really don't want to drop into the 142s. That's territory of early DrAce MotoGP 23 gameplay. I don't want to be doing that back when we were using Traction Control 2 or Traction Control 3. Of course, I have changed my mind about traction control nowadays. Keeping that as a bare minimum with a man with a very smooth throttle control is an absolute must. That's not a bad apex for turn 12. Mustn't run it too wide though, because that could... I knew it! I knew it! Just as I went into that right-hander then, I knew that had gone too tight. That was all because the positioning going into turn 12. If you get the positioning wrong there, when you turn in, which you feel is the same as the previous laps, you're actually putting yourself onto the back foot. And by turning in then at that aggressive angle, caused me to cut the apex. So that's unfortunate. But once again, another lap time. Very close again. It's 0.2 of a second. In fact, no, it's 0.1 of a second. That's all we've lost over those 4 laps. Of course, that one has been invalidated, so that's a little bit disappointing. That's deep into turn 3. Quickly use the ride height device. Get on the power. We found time. We have found time here. It's been a while since we've had a green Delta. But I think as we go over the Liquimoli bridge here and brake as hard as we can, we should be up into sector 1. Really tight apex there for turn 4 as well. Oh, temporarily by 0.5 of a second. A little bit misleading there, but we are finding time. And as we dive on the brakes, Joan Mir with the RC213V, a little bit deep there for turn 6. That's going to cost us in the long run. Now into turn 7, be patient with that change of direction, run it across the curb and get onto the power. We're finding 0.2. This is critical. This is the big wide sweeping turn 10. Never really found my footing in that corner. Can never really seem to get it bang on. Bit of practice I'll need to do when I move over to MotoGP 24. Now across to the right. This time no problem there. Going into the turn 13 as we now dive onto the right hander for turn 14. Getting a bit stronger on the brakes there as well. That seems to have paid off. This could be it. Early stages in this video here today. In fact, I'm about halfway actually already. Wow. I'm aiming to do around 10-11 laps. I do want to just make sure I get the 1 minute 40s though. Across the line, it is not going to be enough, but it is a new lap record for me. A 1:41.102, and we're finding time in the first split. We were until I touched the curb. Just slipping away from us ever so slightly. As again, deep into turn 3, that is not going to be an improvement. 0.4 of a second has gone begging already. Now I do feel there is time to be gained around turn 7, turn 8, and I think into the penultimate corner I might be able to hit the brakes a little bit harder. I'm not that aggressive on the trail brake, that's why you don't really see me crash that much. I don't really hit the brakes that hard. Hopefully I'm not going to jinx myself now after mentioning crashing. So yeah, 0.7 of a second lost here. But that is the difference maker because we ran it deep. This time into 7, tight, left. Not bad. I got a bit of time back, but that felt slower. That actually felt slower, yet it seems to be what we needed. We've had an excellent sector 2 and 3 here. Onto the brakes. Keep it in as tight as you can. And then launch in attack for the right hand side for 13. Rear wheel sliding there for the RC213V. Joan Mir with style goes the 2020 MotoGP World Champion, and then onto the brakes just where that rumble strip is. I tell you what a recovery on this lap time. If we piece this all together then and not make a pig zeer out of the first the first split, we could be right there on it. Look at the time we found there. At one point we were down 0.4 of a second. This is on. If we just get it right, there's no reason we can't be looking at a 1:40 lap time. I didn't foresee this when I started the video here today. Slight wheelie there, even using the ride height device couldn't stop that wheelie. As we charge down the long straight. Still finding ourselves 0.3 of a second down. I know we can find time. I'm late on the brakes here. I think I've gone too wide. I have gone too wide. That's a bit deep. Oh, yeah, we're losing time on this one. Down by 6.66 on the terms of the delta, and that's deep again for turn 5. Oh no, this one could be a 1:42 here. I was really hoping we could stay within the same second. Oh, very tight to the apex there for turn 7. Did that pay off? We found ourselves 0.2. Joan Mir's riding style really leaning off the side of the Honda. As we go onto the power, still wheeling there. Tried to be really calm there and just gradually put on the power, but we still somehow attained a very small wheelie. Onto the brakes for the dreaded turn 14. Extremely tight, just touching the curb there as well. Touching that curb's going to cost us time. Onto the brakes. We should still stay within the 1:41s, but I gotta say I'm not happy with this lap. That's been a disappointing lap, that has. It really has. That's going to be our worst lap time of today's video, if I'm not mistaken. It is. 1:41.7. All damn good lap times ruined right there at the death. This is lap 9 then. If I did plan to do 10 laps, and I guess we've got to make sure these two are good. Build upon the momentum on the penultimate lap then. Good acceleration out the corner, just touching the curb. Time just dwindling away from us on the delta. I cannot take my eyes away from the top right hand corner of your screen. Onto the brakes, that little bit of discolouring on the grass. Downshifting promptly, and then into turn 4. Nice lean angle from the Honda man. Little wheelie again, you see what I mean? The Honda just wants to just bob its head up every now and again. The Michelin front just cannot stay gripped when the torque and the power come from this Honda. Now onto the right hand side, that's a bit deep. Oh, I think I'm going to invalidate here. Not quite. Still on it. Still very much on it. But it's putting pressure on. I need to find a 10th and a half to get into the 140s. This lap time doesn't seem to be it. It's far from ideal. That's a tremendously tight apex there though for turn 12. We've found a bit of time. Onto the brakes then for turn 14. Steady now. More time to be found there. 0.3 of a second. Oh, I ran off the track. A second invalidation for today's video. That puts a lot of pressure on me now then. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final lap of today's video, so we've got to make sure it counts. No pressure. We got onto the brakes. A little bit relaxed going into turn 1 there. I think we're going to lose time. Delta looked relatively even. Didn't really need to upshift there so promptly. Onto the brakes, getting that wide sweeping angle. Look at that beautiful ride height device delivery there. Beautiful lean angle into the right hander as well. That was a good line. That was a very good line. Right on the thick black tarmac. That's put us neck and neck with the best lap from earlier on in the first sector. Now onto the brakes. There's time to be found here if we get it right. We didn't really get it right there. Far from ideal, but a 10th of a second is begging. It's still on this. There's no reason, as long as we get it right in the final couple of sectors, I think we can still do this. I don't feel I've had turn 7 and 8 done correctly, but this is beautiful. I eyed that up perfectly. I think this is it. Just a 10th, 2 tenths. Oh, the delta is oscillating, isn't it? Oh, onto the curb as well. No wheelie this time. I was tremendously gentle upon the right trigger there onto R2 as we now dive into the right hander. Please don't invalidate. We didn't. Tensed up for a moment. Brake here at the shadow. I used a little bit more front brake just to tuck in to the right hander at turn 14. This is it. All the pressure eyes now go to this left-hander. Oh, it's good. That's a beautiful apex. Put the power on, ladies and gentlemen. Put the ride height device on. Full acceleration. We are going to get across the line for my first ever 1 minute 40 here in Buddh. So there you go then, boys and girls. Those are my lap times on screen. I gotta say, I'm happy with that result. I really am. I think we've done a tremendous job to find ourselves within the 140s, but there's still another 10th to be found, isn't there? Maybe we could be looking at a mid to low 140s, ignoring the 2 invalidated laps. I think that was actually a pretty solid session, if I do say so myself. Objective achieved as far as I'm concerned. I look forward to jumping back on this particular challenge in MotoGP 24. But guys, thanks for watching the video. I certainly hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.